everyone, welcome back to the Cheap channel, the channel dedicated to all things cheap in the world of fragrances. And today's video is going to be one of my first where I will give you a list of fragrances that are catered toward a certain occasion or situation or area. And in today's, we're going to look at 5 that I think would work perfect for the office place. So most of the time when you're in an office-like environment, you're in somewhere that's enclosed, you're in a lot of contact with people, whether it be a client or customer or a co-worker or your boss. And for the most part, you're in a professional environment. And so some things like certain clothing items and certain colors and even certain fragrances and smells are going to be a little offensive to people and probably not all appropriate. But these that I picked here, I think are very inoffensive and very appropriate. They're not too strong, but they're very smooth and soft. And I think if you work in any office-like environment, like actual office building where you might do paperwork or computer work, or you have cubicles or your own office area, or maybe even a grocery store or a doctor's office or a hospital or a pharmacy or anywhere in healthcare or medical field, even as a teacher or a professor, or any environment where you're having to keep it tame, but you still want to wear something that is easy appealing to people, or you still want to have a fragrance on you because that's part of your routine, or you just want to have something that makes you stand out from everyone else, but not too much. I think these would work perfect for that. Let's go ahead and get into that first one, and it is this one here, Mont Blanc Starwalker. So this is a well-known herald cheapie in the fragrance community. It is also one of my personal favorites from Mont Blanc, and even in my whole collection, has a little bit of sentimental value to me as well because it's one of my first ones that I bought when I really started collecting, and it stuck with me all the way through. I don't wear it as often as I probably should and as I want to because I have so much trying to get through, but I really do still love it. It holds a special place in my heart. How this fragrance comes across is very bright, light, almost a little airy, but yet soft at the same time. It has some good citruses on the top, a ginger note, which adds a little bit of a spiciness to it. Has a noticeable bamboo note, which you don't see a whole lot in fragrances, and that makes this very unique. It gives it a little bit of a green, almost aquatic facet, along with some woodiness. It adds so much to it from the top to the mid. You also get some white musks in here, which makes it very airy and clean, and it fills in the fragrance, and a little bit powdery as well. But the dominant thing is the woodiness in this. You have fir resin, you have cedar, and you also have some ambery notes in here, which adds a little bit of warmth to it, but not too much. This is an absolutely amazing fragrance. It's also very calming as well. A lot of people say they like to wear this as they're laying in bed before they go to sleep because it helps them to relax. And I gotta say, I've tried that and it does help. I don't know if it's just a placebo thing because I know other people do it, but it does just make you relax. It's very casual, laid back, but yet also can be worn very professionally. It's not offensive at all. Performance is about average or a little under. I'd say about 5, maybe 6 hours if that's pushing it. But projection is not that loud. It goes out loud for a little bit in the opening, but then tames back in, which makes this perfect for office settings because you don't stand out, but it has a nice sillage about it. You'll definitely smell it as the wearer, making it very enjoyable for you as you're wearing it through the day. And those who come around you will be able to smell it if they're walking behind you or just working with you, but it's not too loud and overbearing. And because it has that calming nature about it, I think that also adds in with it being very inoffensive and enjoyable to smell. And this did come out in 2005, so to some people it might have that little bit of fresh, spicy, musky kind of style that the early 2000s had, almost a little retro, but I think it still works perfectly well today. A lot of people say it has a little bit of a similarity to Versace Man Eau Fraiche, and it's a tad bit there, but not quite. It's a little more woody and a little more spicy than Versace Man Eau Fraiche, but seasonality I think is more suited for the warmer weather like spring and summer, especially springtime with that greenness that's in here. You probably could pull this off in the fall as well, especially if you get warmer fall, but I think you could probably switch over to other things like we'll see later. You can also find this almost everywhere at rack stores. I've seen this at TJ Maxx, Burlington, Marshalls, Ross, everywhere. It's very easy to find and pick up and very inexpensive. I think I got this one for about $19.99, maybe a little less than that. So it's very much available, but I highly recommend it. I think it's a great start to this list. It is Mont Blanc Starwalker. The next one on the list is one that you really don't see talked a lot about in the fragrance community, even on the cheapie side of things. I used to see Dallas from the Chaos Fragrances channel talk about this one a good bit, and that's actually why I got this, but I don't see it talked about anymore, but I think it's still really good and really worth getting. It is this one here, Boss Selection from Hugo Boss. So this is another early 2000s release, so it is gonna have that early 2000s kind of style and thing about it, but I think it still has a little bit of a modern feel through it, maybe a little bit ahead of its time. It has an awesome opening of grapefruit and pink pepper. That grapefruit along with some orange almost has a green, rindy, ripe kind of smell to it. It's one of the better grapefruit openings I've smelled in cheap fragrances. It is super good. I'm willing to just spray it over and over just to get that initial opening, but you quickly go through into some cedar needles. It's a little woody, a little almost fir resinous, and very musky and very powdery, and you have some more spices that come along like star anise, some other things, a little ambery, a little warmth. It's somewhat similar to Star Walker, but not as woody. I say this is more of the musky, citric take on it. It is super, super good. Of course, you're gonna expect good quality out of Hugo Boss, even on their cheaper end stuff. You also get some nice clean vetiver adding into that freshness, but also a little bit of that spicy side. Perfect for the spring and the summer, and maybe a little bit into the fall season as well, just like Star Walker. The only thing with this that I have a gripe about, and a lot of people do as well, is the performance. It's not a very loud projector, which is good for the office setting, but it's also not a long laster. I get maybe 3-4 hours, depending on how much I spray on my clothes and my skin. I get maybe a tad better longevity and projection, but not by much. It is way under average performing. I say poor performing, but it's not like a 2-hour fragrance, but I would say about 3 or 4 is the most that I've gotten out of it. But like I said, the opening on this is so good. I'm willing to just keep spraying just to smell that opening again. So it's a good thing I got a big bottle of it, but still, if you're in a office setting and you're going in for a quick visit or meeting with someone and it's not gonna last too long, I mean, this is perfect for that. Just spray it on real quick, go in, get your business done, and then get out, and it'll wear with you all the way through whatever you're doing with that. But if you're doing like a long 6-7 hour day, it might not last with you. But again, it is so inexpensive. You can keep the bottle with you or make a decant out of it and just spray and reapply as you need it. This is also another one that I've been able to see very consistently at Ross Dress for Less. I'm pretty sure Marshalls and Burlington probably have it. Haven't seen it much at TJ Maxx though, but Ross has it almost every time I go in there, and it's almost like 22, sometimes $25.99 as far as I've been able to see. So still well under that $40 range I like to keep it at, and it's very well worth it, especially if you want a good signature office fragrance, one that you're gonna wear consistently. I think this one is still really good, and like I said, that opening is so enjoyable, a little sweet, that spicy. It is so good and so clean. You would smell very professional and very well put together with this one, and I can't recommend it enough. You just overlook the performance issue, but I still like it. It is this one, Boss Selection. Now on to the third one in the listing, and this is another one that I haven't seen talked about, I don't think any in the fragrance community, and is one that I bought on my own as a blind buy at a TJ Maxx, and it was a very good price, especially for the brand that it is. It was like $19.99 for this and another version of it, and it is super good. I could not have imagined how good it was just by looking at it and by the price tag. It is this one here, Dunhill Driven Eau de Parfum. So even though I haven't seen this one talked about, I have seen the other version of this one, the Eau de Toilette, talked about more often as being a good signature freshie for spring and summer. And I haven't tried the EDT, but I don't even know if I really want to after smelling the Eau de Parfum. I assume that this is a more rich take on the EDT. It may have a little bit more of a twist and some other things added, but I just like this one as it is without even smelling the other one. So what you're gonna get out of this one is a nice, spicy, clean, musky, powdery, fruity scent. It opens up with an amazing opening of red apple and plum that I notice off the top, a very sweet, fruity apple. It is so good. get a good bit of spiciness coming in right behind it with some cinnamon and cardamom. The cardamom is way more noticeable. It'll almost remind you of a La Nuit de l'Homme style of cardamom. And of course, you get some good ambers in this, some vanilla, some musk, some cedar woodiness. It is warm, sweet, spicy, but still because of that apple, it keeps a little bit of a freshness about it. And that apple just smells so good. I can't get over it. It's gonna be the most noticeable note you'll get out of this. So you have a good balance of fresh, spicy, but yet sweet, ambery, and warm. You also get a little bit of a floral quality with some jasmine and rose, even though it's not too noticeable. It is a perfect amount of sweetness where it's not overly a nighttime style or date night style, even though you could wear this in a date. This is just a wonderful signature all the way around. But because it has a good balance of fresh and light and spicy along with sweet, ambery, and warm, I think you can wear this all year round. It may not work for the super high heat of summer, but if you're in an office setting and it's AC controlled and it stays pretty cool and consistent, I think you can break this one out easily. Very reminiscent of a Hugo Boss bottled style fragrance with that apple cinnamon, but this isn't so heavy on the cinnamon, more on the cardamom side, but it still is spicy, powdery, clean. You can wear this into the office, going out of the office, straight to a date. It's just all around great. As far as performance, it is easily average or above 6-7 hours. Not too loud of a projector, but it can be loud if you spray too much on. I think because of that powdery clean kind of aspect, it's going to not be too piercing or overbearing. And because it's an eau de parfum, it will keep a little closer on the skin and not be so bright and effervescent and just coming off your skin. But it still will have a good bit of sillage to it. I will say it's not a bad performer. Just be careful with your sprays depending on how your body chemistry is and how it works on you. Try it out first and make sure it's not gonna be too loud. But even if it is a little loud, I don't think you're gonna get any complaints out of it because it is so much of that warm, ambery, almost sensual style. It's easy to love. No one's gonna dislike it, I don't think, unless they don't like this style. It is modern, but yet a little mature, but that sweetness brings in where younger guys can wear it easily. It's just all around so versatile for anyone, almost any kind of occasion. And if you can find this for the same price that I did, definitely pick it up because you might not find that deal again, and it is very well worth it, especially for a name brand like Dunhill. And if you find it for a good price online too, definitely pick it up. I think you'll really enjoy it. If any of that sounds appealing to you, I highly recommend it. Perfect for an all year round office style, especially something that's a little more alluring. It is this one, Dunhill Driven. Now on to the fourth one in the list, and it's one that maybe you were expecting to see. I think some other people even recommend it as an office wear, and if not, then you're gonna get a unique take out of this one. I really like it. I haven't worn it so much with the limited time that I've had it, but what I have had, I'm definitely gonna be trying it out more as we get to the end of this year, and you'll see why. It is this one, Burberry Brit for Men. So this is another one that is hailed as a great cheapie in the fragrance community, but it is coming from Burberry, and so their quality is still really good for that low price. But this one more in particular, and even though this did come out in the early 2000s, I think 2004, it still holds up very well today. So in case you already don't know what this is like, this is a predominant spicy, powdery fragrance. Not too woody, even though there's a few wood notes in this. And there's also a noticeable rose note in this. So you're getting a powdery, oriental, spicy rose style fragrance. In fact, I think oriental notes are listed in this. It has things like cinnamon and nutmeg and tonka bean. It also has a little bit of a musky kind of style with some gray musk notes in it. It's a little bit citric on the top, but not too heavy or noticeable. You're immediately just gonna be hit with all those spicy, powdery notes. To me, it almost has like a baby powder kind of powderiness to it. And that might not sound appealing to you, but it helps it to give a clean, groomed kind of feel, like almost like powdered deodorant. And honestly, brings me back to, in my mind, I get a visual image of powdered wigs and, you know, ballrooms kind of scent because of the powderiness that's all throughout it, spicy. But it has a little bit of warmth to it as well, and a good bit of sophistication and elegance with it. And now that I think about it, the woodiness is more dominant in this because I think the cedar note appears twice in the note breakdown. So cedar is very much the underlying woodiness that helps support everything in it. It's not gonna be overly noticeable unless you spray a lot on and you're very sensitive to it, but it does help to give a masculine kind of feel and undertone to it. So the powdery facet doesn't overtake and make this so feminine. This definitely is masculine, but that powderiness with the rose and the florals does make it have a little bit more of a playful kind of masculinity without being too unisex. Perfect for the fall, winter, and spring seasons, I think daytime or nighttime. But going into the performance is what makes this more appropriate for the office. It's not gonna be a very loud projector, and it's not gonna last overly too long, which is kind of par of the course of what Burberry does. A lot of people contribute them for not having good performance in a lot of their older style fragrances, and this is right along with it, because if this was overly loud with that oriental powdery profile, I think it would be a little cloying. But with the longevity being about 5 hours on my skin and the projection being very intimate after the first hour, it makes this way more feasible to wear in the office setting. I think that with the profile the way it is, it works perfect for it, especially in those colder months. This will probably lean more toward the mature side, 25 years and up, because that musk does have a little bit of an old style to it, even though I appreciate it. I don't mind that, but the powdery, spicy aspects might be a little too soapy for the younger audience. But if you do enjoy it, I think it's perfect. It's sophisticated, elegant, like Burberry always does. Pricing can be all over the place. Burberry, even at rack stores and online, tends to run a little over the $25, $30 mark, but it's still not bad for what you're getting. Again, you're getting good quality for a name brand, and you know what to expect out of Burberry. I see this almost everywhere at the rack stores I go to, so availability is very easy to get your hands on. And if you get a chance to actually test this out, I would highly suggest testing this out before you decide to buy a full bottle on the cheap, because it might be a little divisive to most of you out there, but I really like it, and I think it is a quintessential office scent. It is this one here, Burberry Brit for Men. Now on to the last one, and it is one that I'm actually most excited to talk about, and it got me to wanting to get this whole list together. It was a blind buy that went perfect. I did not know what to expect, but when I smelled it, I absolutely fell in love with it. It's very unique, but I think it's one of my favorites out of my collection. It is this one here, Bentley Momentum Intense. So this is a creation from one of my favorite perfumers, Natalie Lorson, who, as you know, did the whole Encre Noir line and also did some other Bentley fragrances like Bentley for Man Intense, the original Bentley for Man, Momentum Intense, I think the original Momentum, and maybe another one after this one, but she has a very particular style, very unique, and when she does a cheapie, she hits it right, because it's something that you would not expect the quality to be at, and it makes it very unique, and it's more likely to stand out in a collection among all the other cheapies you'll have. This fragrance is very similar to Carolina Herrera's CH for Men, which is a very high-held fragrance among all the Carolina Herrera's, and it's a very grassy, sweet leather fragrance, very unique, but it doesn't perform that well. This, I think, is the solution to it. It's similar to it, but not exactly the same. What you're gonna get with this is gonna open up with a nice, spicy, aromatic opening. It's very ambery, has a nice noticeable lavender and elemi note. And if you don't know what elemi smells like, smell some other fragrances that have elemi in it and you'll definitely be able to pick it out, because this is strong. In this, it quickly gets into a little bit of a powdery aspect, more warmth as you go in, and a lot more woodiness. You have some amberwood and some ambergris in here. It is a very unique fragrance. It's almost green, but not quite. Almost leathery, but there's no leather note in it. It's very different. Even though it's similar to CH for Men, it doesn't have that noticeable grass note in it, or that noticeable sugar note, or that noticeable leather note, but yet it still gets everything else about CH for Men that makes it unique. You also get a little bit of sandalwood and muskiness. Overall, just a spicy, ambery, woody scent. This is the intense version, so I'm not sure what the original smells like, but from what I've heard, it smells just like this, except this is just the amped up version of it. So this is the one that's going to be the all year round versatile one. Daytime or nighttime, spring through winter, warm, cold, rainy, sunny. no matter what, this is the one that you're gonna wear all through it. Just, I think the woodiness makes it so versatile, but also very masculine. It grounds it to almost any season. That ambers make it warm where it can be subtle in the warm weather, but yet noticeable in the colder weather. And that spiciness gives it a little bit of an edge with that element, just makes it stand out more than anything else. It's just a all around very nice scent. And of course, as the name would imply, intense, it is an intense fragrance, very loud performing, I think for the first hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and fairly long lasting. I think you get about 6 hours, maybe 7, depending on how you spray it and how it wears on you, but super unique, very different from anything else you're gonna smell or own. Yes, it is similar to CH for Men, but way better performance and way more versatile than that as well, and way more, I think, professional. This has an air of just CEO vibes about it, that you're in charge, you know what you're doing, you have everything planned out, and it's gonna go your way no matter what. It's just so nice. It just makes you smell and feel like the ball design, very slick, very well defined, very inexpensive too from online discounters, depending on where you look. I picked this one up from Fragrance Buy for like $22, which is not bad at all. Highly recommend that you pick this up and try it out. If any of that sounds good to you, you are going to love this one. I can't recommend it enough. It is Bentley Momentum Intense. And here they are, guys, 5 cheapies that I think were perfect for any office-like environment and that I personally recommend for you to try out. And they work great with me. I think that you would love them as well. As you can see, unintentionally, all the bottle designs have a gray kind of look to them. And I think it's just because they work great for the modern office. They're not too hot, too cold. The neutral area, they work perfect for that. And all of these, even from the summertime to the wintertime, from spring to fall, warm, cold, something for everything, from either somewhat loud to long lasting to not too loud or long lasting. I think there's anything here for everybody. Things that are clean, powdery, and musky to things that are fruity, sweet, and warm to things that are woody and things that are spicy, just all around covering almost any base you need covered. If you've tried any of these or you have any of these, let me know in the comments what you think about them. If there's any here that you don't have, which ones do you look forward to getting? Any questions too, I'd be glad to answer. Just leave a comment below and let me look at it. Are there any others besides these that you found that were great in an office setting? If there is, let me know again in the comments below. We'll take a look at it and I might just try it out myself. Also, I hope you enjoyed this style of video, getting a list together that's catered toward a specific occasion or situation. If you like that kind of stuff, let me know. And if you're happen to be watching this and you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, showing some support. I have a lot of things that I'm planning on doing and trying to get together, and I'd love for you to come and join along with me on this cheap fragrance journey, and maybe I can help you discover something new along the way. And as usual, guys, thank you for being right along here with me and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you all again in the next video. Be blessed.